You guys, if you bothered to go back and look through and listen to the phone calls, you notice that all of these services tell me that they're just referral services. From the AI to, well, all of the places they told me to call. All of them. All they can do is send me on to somebody else who I've already talked to, who already told me it's not their job. These people need to pull their heads out of their asses and decide whose job it is to do these things. If you're claiming to the American public that you, as a government, are providing services that you are not providing, but you are still taking American taxpayer dollars to pay people to not do those jobs, for these people to tell the victims that it's not their job, over and over again. I'm an at-risk adult. I cannot defend myself. I am not allowed. That's the one thing everybody, no matter how many times I say it, it goes right in one ear and out the other. I'm not allowed. So obviously, we've seen in the news how the things that happen to me, when they happen to others, there are consequences, aren't there? The difference between Sammy Leon Lawrence IV and myself is that with Sammy Leon Lawrence IV, he wasn't painted as some god-awful monster the way I was. Same thing with Zayd Atkinson. The same shit happened to me, but it's fine that it happened to me. I'm not the right color for you to care. I don't fit the right color for your narrative. I'm not the right gender for your narrative either. Men can't be victims in the United States. That's the message that you're selling. Disabled people, despite the fact that there's supposed to be laws in place to protect us from exactly this situation without somebody who actually cares to actually step up, it don't make any difference. I have no rights. The mentally ill tag takes away my rights because of your assumptions. Trying to get Meg to look at evidence, fucking impossible. And people have it in their head that if they don't look at evidence, that it didn't happen. Well, at least the stuff with her that she should have verified in court. She should have helped me to get a day in court instead of what actually happened. Now, she doesn't want to hear about the stuff that I've had to endure because she didn't speak up. Just like with Harley. She didn't want to fess up to the fact that there were consequences for me when she was doing those things. Just like with Dallas, there were consequences for me. There are consequences for me, whether you admit to it or not. Whether you admit that it took you a long time to actually listen, to understand. But see, Harley did fess up. She did listen to it. She did admit that she screwed up. I can respect Harley. Harley did a lot of fucked up shit. Ain't no joke about that. And according to her, everybody in town already knows. So, me saying something is no big thing. Back when it was going on, it was a big thing. But afterwards, well, she was able and willing to actually listen, which is important. There's a lot of people that could have stepped up to the plate. They knew these things were happening. They didn't care enough to speak up. They made every excuse not to, including Dallas Richmond. There's a lot of stuff that Dallas didn't know nothing about. He wasn't a part of it, made sure that he wasn't a part of it. But there's also a lot of stuff that he was a part of. A lot of these people are pissed off that they were recorded. Well, what? If you know things and you're not coming forward, and I'm still taking the abuse because you're not coming forward with what you know, then there is a major issue, and I do have to record it. These people didn't just threaten my life. They didn't just threaten Cara Rogers. They didn't just threaten my little sister. But who's doing anything about any of these threats? Now, my little sister doesn't have any evidence of the threats to send me. Cara Rogers claimed that she did, but she never sent it. That's Cara Mia. She's one of the characters right at the very beginning who claimed she wanted to help me, but she was playing both sides of the line. She did a lot of fucked up shit because rather than trying to find out both sides, she just wanted to assume the worst, just like Dan Faber. Now, Dan Faber gets a free pass. Most of these people get a free pass because the evidence was stolen. The people who have copies of it, well, Molly Smith and Miss Peaches, that's Kayla Trujillo. Yeah, they've made no effort to turn that in, and that's the whole reason that they were given those. So that if anything happened to me, they could turn those in. They could show the truth. These things are allowed to happen despite the fact that they're illegal because you don't care. The law is very clear about taking things out of context. That judge intentionally took things out of context. He intentionally reworded what I had said to try to make it mean something else entirely. In that video, I spoke out about how wrong it is and how it is right for me to defend my rights and my life and the lives of my loved ones. It is right for me to do so. And all these people saying, oh, well, you know, I'd shoot him, I'd shoot him, I'd shoot him. No, the fuck you wouldn't, because you didn't. You talked about it. And yeah, by law, apparently, I'm supposed to turn all of you in when you're talking about shooting people. The thing is, I already knew you were too cowardly to do any such thing. With Candace Bonder on, she's talking about if some bikers come to the house to mess with her and the kids, that she'll shoot them between the eyes with a .45. Well, it turned out it wasn't bikers. It was Michael Beard of the Haxton Sheriff's Department. But rather than come forward about that, rather than come forward about those things, rather than help me to turn these things in, you guys didn't. You allowed me to be treated like I was schizophrenic for saying that you people exist. You allowed them to treat me like I was schizophrenic for saying that you guys were getting a hold of me and telling me that you were being threatened. That's right, I got called schizophrenic. And none of you came forward to help. You procrastinated, wasted my time, and made empty promises for months. You intentionally misled situations over and over. Either you told the truth or you didn't. I'm not allowed to defend myself. That's what all of these people are not looking at. I'm not allowed. Someone has to step up to the plate and actually speak for me, actually advocate for me and for my rights. Not a bunch of people who are going to make the excuse of it's not going to work and never try as a result. We get to see every day what works, and all of these people claiming that the only things that work won't work. No, they don't work because you never fucking try. Meg at least tried those things months and months and months after she should have done something and taken the situation seriously. Instead, she treated me like I was a moron. And when I said she was a moron for treating me like a moron for 6 months, like I was too stupid to understand the English language, according to the Dual County Sheriff's Department, what Meg's job was is the same thing that's recorded in that conversation with Amanda DeMette. Amanda DeMette was under those same assumptions. And she wanted to keep on pushing it. And I kept on saying to Amanda, hey, let's talk to Meg together. Because if I'm going to get treated like I'm lying or I'm wrong about her job, she needs to tell you. And Meg did tell her. Meg did tell Amanda DeMette. We did set it up. It didn't take 6 months that time. It only took a few days. The amount of time it took for Amanda to make the time to do so, because she has special needs kids. There's a lot of people who wanted to tell me I just needed to get over it, and then they lost a loved one. I lost a lot of loved ones. My older brother wants to type to me. He won't talk to me, but he wants to type to me about his losses. You mean like Mobley and Christine? Those are people that I loved and cared about too. Yeah, they did fucked up shit. That doesn't mean I don't love them. When your loved ones do fucked up shit to you, you are well within your rights to be angry at them. A lot of people who have had very extremely vulgar conversations, not conversations, arguments, screaming matches with their spouses or with their kids, want to say, well, I can't believe you would talk to some... Bitch, you talk to people like that. Don't even. Do not get all high and mighty on me, because I will expose your dumb ass. Now, I tried to be nice, and I also had a lot of issues with storage space. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't get to record. But as time went on, I was able to siphon at least a little bit of the money that I had to try to get the electronic stuff that I needed in order to save as much of that evidence as possible, until I had multiple devices full of evidence of threats, harassment, intimidation, gaslighting, and people outright bullshitting me and taking advantage of me. I need a guardian and an actual advocate. Meg did try to do the things that an actual advocate is supposed to do from long distance, the best that she could. She wants to throw things in my face that I was trying to explain to her at the time, but just like always, what I'm saying goes in one ear and out the other. These people expect me to just let it go when I am still living in this hell. I don't have friends that I get to hang out with anymore. Do you know why I don't get to go hang out with my friends? I haven't gotten to go just hang out with my friends and enjoy their company in over 6 years. I haven't gotten to just sit with my friends and enjoy their company since that situation in Virginia. I went to people for help. I went to Joanna Taylor Smith for help. She didn't help. Instead, she got into an argument with Derek Parrish, her boyfriend at the time. I don't know if they're still going out or not. And then Derek spent 3 days being an asshole to me because she got into an argument with him. It had nothing to do with me. Just like Natalie and Alicia and their bullshit in Virginia. They were fighting over a boy. I don't know who the boy was. It had nothing to do with me unless I was the boy they were fighting over. Which don't make no damn sense. I wasn't railroaded in court because I'm a horrible person. I was railroaded in court because these people didn't put any actual effort towards it. They claimed that they wanted to help. They wanted to help in concept, but in reality, the things that will help, they're not trying. They're claiming that they did, but where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Then there's these people that want to tell me that I should get a hold of the Durango Herald or some newspaper like that in Durango, Colorado. You need to talk to this Durango whatever. And then these people are later on telling me, like, let me give you an example of people who told me to get a hold of the Durango newspaper. Sarah Bacon is one of them. Layla Johnson is another. Shannon Alvarado is another. And Sarah Bacon tells me that when she tried to call them, that they refused by claiming that I was schizophrenic, and that is recorded on my YouTube channel as well. That's recent. The thing is that these people kept on claiming they're gonna, and never did. What did they expect me to do? Just keep on taking the abuse? They promised to help stop it. And they didn't. They didn't keep their word. They didn't keep their promises. And that's the problem of not having a guardian, is that people can take advantage of you. You have no recourse to defend yourself against it. All of the odds and all of the cards are stacked against you, and there's not a goddamn thing that you can do about it. Other people need to speak up. I was not allowed to show evidence because they wanted to pretend I was schizophrenic and making it up. And when I recorded conversations with these people that show and verify that I didn't make those things up, those things did happen. And then those people who didn't come forward, they want to be angry that I posted that up on fucking YouTube and I posted it up on Facebook. I shouldn't have fucking had to. A decent person would have listened to the victim instead of making every excuse. And that's what people did universally across the board. When it came time to actually do something, they didn't do shit. Now with Megan Mitsigatis, she finally did something. But it had to be a severe situation that resulted in me literally having to break fucking windows because she wasn't taking it seriously. She wasn't communicating. She wasn't listening to understand. There's a lot of stuff that I explained about the bank. There's multiple situations with that. And yes, she was involved in the beginning, but she said she can't remember it. Oh, that didn't happen. It absolutely did happen. You speak about it on my YouTube channel. When she was first going to help me with the bank situation, that was before I went to prison. And she wants to forget about that and then just talk about the situation after I got out of prison. They're both very similar situations. It was inappropriate for that stuff to be dumped on me the way that it was, and for me to be treated like I'm a bad person because she's not listening. Here's the thing about communicating. If you are trying to communicate with the victim, you need to listen to the victim first. The fact that people are dead really does put a lot more on this. I feel bad for Meg because the people who are supposed to do their jobs didn't. They didn't do their jobs. And according to Meg's personal opinion, they were just trying to pawn me off on her because they didn't want to mess with it. They didn't want to deal with it. They didn't want to do their jobs. Well, duh. Fucking duh. That's why an advocate needs to be present. The advocate is there to make sure that those people if they don't do their jobs, someone speaks up, someone does something. Someone actually advocates for them. If they're not allowed to speak for themselves, someone needs to speak for them. If no matter what a person says, they're going to be ignored and people are going to pretend like they're making it up, and officers are allowed to remove that evidence and prevent that person from having the evidence that shows what those officers did wrong. That is so incredibly, horribly immoral and illegal. But it's only illegal if you care enough to actually fight. If I have to beg you for literally months or years on end to speak up, you're not a friend, you're a piece of shit. Instead of making the excuse of it's not going to do any good, you know what? It did plenty of good for the volunteers. People actually put forth actual effort to help them, to try to frame me for shit I didn't even do. They got to have court without me even being allowed to be present or show evidence. I was illegally held in Boulder County so they could prevent me from going to my court date in Arapahoe County, and they assaulted me repeatedly in that situation, and there are witnesses to these situations, but you won't fucking listen. You won't try to contact them, and they're too lazy to try to contact you. Why didn't Miss Peaches come forward while I was in Arapahoe County Jail? Why didn't she come forward before that? Why did she make so many empty promises and not keep her word? And why am I the one who is fucking victimized over her not keeping her word? When these people made bad assumptions or fucked up and made bad decisions, they blame that shit on me. When Candace Bondurant was threatened, harassed, and intimidated by the police and by her landlord, nothing happened to them. I was the one forced out into sub-zero temperatures. I needed a safe place. And with these people, instead of going to the police when they were being threatened, taking it out on me and punishing me because people were threatening them, I didn't make Candace offer to help. I didn't make Candace claim things that were untrue. Now, was she telling the truth to me? Did she tell you guys the things that she typed to me? Did she show you those things? No, she didn't, and I was prevented from showing it. I needed help. I'm not allowed to be frustrated, or you victimize the fuck out of me. But if I don't speak out and let you know that I'm frustrated, you pretend like there's no problems there. You want to continually make it about you. Well, at that point, it is about you. Meg wants to claim that I didn't say or do things, that there's evidence on my Facebook and on my YouTube that yes, those things did actually happen. She just doesn't want to admit that she fucked up. And that there are consequences for me because she fucked up. When you apologize with a but, you're not apologetic. When you say, I'm sorry that I didn't come forward at the beginning, but I did eventually come forward, but are you acknowledging the fact that in that period of time between when I first came to you and when you finally tried to understand, I had to go through a lot of abuse. I had to do desperate things because you weren't taking it seriously. With the situation with Scott DaCosta and his fucking goons, people in Chapel, Nebraska, not caring if it's true or not, they just know that they've got an easy person to victimize. And Meg isn't doing a goddamn thing about that. How is she going to advocate for me if she doesn't care enough to speak up, to even try to contact the media? Any excuse not to make any effort. These people will do anything except what is needed to stop the abuse. None of this temporary band-aid shit that they keep pulling. Why don't you move? Why don't you move? Why don't you fucking move? Over and over again. And have to stay with drunks and alcoholics and meth addicts. Because they're the ones who are promising that they're going to help, whereas people like you aren't going to. You're going to go out of your way to play victim because you don't want to pay for your decisions, your wrong decisions. It wasn't immoral for these people to fuck up. What's immoral and also illegal is for them to cover it up. If somebody runs out in front of your vehicle, you're going 25 miles an hour in a 25 mile per hour zone, and they dart out in between two moving trucks, right out in front of your vehicle, and they end up dead, you went the speed limit. It's not your fault that that person didn't look and listen. It's not your fault that they stepped out in between two vehicles that prevented you from being able to see them until it was too late. At that point, you have not committed a crime. You didn't commit a crime. Someone is dead, yes, because that person was stupid and stepped in front of a moving fucking vehicle. It's bigger than you. Stay put until it passes. Don't be an idiot. Now, here's where it becomes a criminal act. Let's say you're driving and that situation happens, but, well, you think your insurance might elapse today. You're not sure if it's today or tomorrow. You didn't kill the guy on purpose. You're afraid that you're going to get in trouble. You're afraid that you're going to get into a lot of trouble because you accidentally killed this dude. So what do? You pick up the body, you put it in your vehicle, and you go dump it somewhere. Well, at that point, you've committed a felony. You've gone from this idiot stepped in front of your vehicle and he's dead now, to now you're trying to hide a body. Well, now, at this point, nobody is going to believe that you didn't kill him on purpose. You were trying to hide the body. People are going to just jump to the conclusion that you killed the man on purpose because you're trying to hide the body. That's the thing about these people fucking up. Yes, to err is human. We all fuck up. But do you admit it? Do you admit that there are repercussions for others because of your decisions? I understood full well that there were repercussions for others for my decisions. I understood full well every step of the way. I understood that when Candace Bondurant wanted to dip out, she did horrible, horrible things, and she wanted to claim it was because of her kids' safety. She had to worry about her kids, her kids, her kids. You can't tell the truth because of your kids. But here's the thing, it wasn't just Candace Bondurant at that point telling me that her and her kids were being threatened. There's a lot of people that had spoken up. These people happened to be right that I hadn't killed Natalie Bollinger. These people happened to claim that they were going to try to help me how I needed. Now, there are people like Mandy Hughes who, at the very beginning, she didn't want to come forward publicly because she saw these other people being threatened and harassed and intimidated. Not taken out of context, literally threatening, harassing, and intimidating people. Whereas the judge in my situation, what did he do? That one that's recorded and on the internet? That's right, he went out of his way to change it so that it would be legal. Like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars. Is that legal? I will make it legal. It's not that I wasn't trying. It's that I was getting empty promises from people who weren't coming forward publicly because they were afraid to, supposedly. And seeing many of the people who had spoken up publicly, it makes perfect sense. Absolutely, I was afraid of that shit happening. Later on, when stuff started to calm down, and when Mandy Hughes and Alyssa Rainwater were telling me that they were going to help speak up and help advocate for me, you know, that at that point right there, yes, I started speaking up publicly about that. They said they were actually going to help me how I needed, finally. Now, with Mandy Hughes, she had been promising that she was gonna for almost a year by that point. They just didn't. They just never did. They never came forward. When I had to do desperate shit, it's because I went to all the places that I'm supposed to go. I went to all the people I was told to go to, and none of them took it seriously. Meg doesn't want to be clumped in with those other assholes because she doesn't feel like she did anything wrong. She made a bad assumption. That was wrong. Just like many other people, when their pride is hurt, winning is more important than right and wrong. And when they're pissed off, it's that winning thing, that competition, that, well, I have to be right. No, you don't have to be right. A lot of people want to tell me how it is in a situation that I'm in and they're not. In situations that I'm here for and they're not. And they want to talk about other situations that I was there for and they were not. When they're angry at me, they'll believe anything that anybody else says, and fine. Believe whatever the fuck you want to believe. The evidence is still up, and the evidence still shows that I'm telling the truth, that you are the one who is wrong. And Megan Messigatis, she was of the opinion that because people talked nice, that it meant they were nice people. No. A used car salesman will smile in your face while telling you there's only 100,000 miles on it. Doug Cowden was one of those. Not literally a used car salesman, just a fast talker. A fast talker with a smile on his face. That's something that Jamie Curtis did too. A lot of people do that. And it's been shown by multiple American and British universities that nothing passes a lie more than a pretty smile. Straight teeth, the whiter the better. Fucking car. Anyway, the thing is, I told you that I wouldn't be allowed. I told you the dynamics of it before all of this happened, because it's protocol when you are disabled and you go in alone, when you have to talk to these places alone. Now, some of the most important phone calls, I was very, very not happy with Meg, because she was going to make those phone calls with me, and she didn't. And then she wanted to pass it off, and she wanted to say, well, I'll make those calls myself if I have your permission. Yes, she had my permission. Absolutely. But I'm having to rely on her memory. And the longer things go on, and the more she's pissed off that I speak up, the more screwed up it is, and the more angry she's going to be, and the more it's going to be askew, and the more she's going to throw shit in my face that she wasn't even there for. The more she's going to claim that things didn't happen, that, well, just because I didn't post it up on the internet yet doesn't mean it's not recorded. That recording with Zach was only a couple of days old when I posted it. Well, it was about a week old by the time I was finally able to get it downloaded and posted. The one with Dallas Richmond, that was recorded a lot earlier. There's multiple ones with Dallas Richmond that show the situations. They show the fact that, all right, the safety issue over at Dallas is with him and Harley and all of that situation where it was obvious that I wasn't going to be able to turn in Scott DaCosta without a safe environment. I wasn't going to be able to turn in any of the predators because Leslie Snell was going to help them all get away. Plain and simple. Leslie Snell, because of her position, was allowed access to all of these things. Her name is all over my paperwork. Yes, she was involved in multiple court situations with me. Yes, she was one of the people I was trying to turn in. Rather than treat me like I'm a horrible person because you don't want to listen, because you want to pretend that I'm wrong about situations I was there for and you weren't. Like Leslie Snell trying to pretend that Scott DaCosta wouldn't do this, that, and don't fucking lie to me. I was there, you weren't. So stop talking out your ass, chicken neck. Holy fuck. But it didn't matter. I had to do the court thing by myself, alone. Meg said, oh, well, I was at that court date. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You absolutely were not on that. Were not at that court date. Now, if you were on the Zoom or the whatever it's called, that's fine. But you didn't speak up and you weren't there, and you should have spoken up. I don't hate you people. I hate the fact that you guys did horrible shit over bad assumptions instead of listening to the victim and paying attention. But you guys got an 8-second attention span. That's tough to contend with because its situation got very complicated very quick because of the sheer number of people that I went to who blew me off. And then later on they want to say, oh, I'll do something. Well, here's the thing. You can do something now. But now there's the additional fact that you need to admit why it is you didn't come forward sooner. That was the thing with Megan Misigatis that I was pissed off about. Why didn't you come forward about that sooner? Why did it take you 6 months? Just like with Miss Peaches. Why didn't you come forward with those things sooner? Why did you say that you were going to come forward about those things for months and months, and when you never did, who is it that's being victimized out on the streets? Who is it that's having to try to trudge through the January snow? Yeah, with all these people having their lives threatened, yes, that is the reason I attempted to kill myself. I needed help stopping the abuse, and instead, I've got a bunch of fucking internet wingnut fucking nut jobs threatening to kill people who offered to help. But people have this assumption in their heads that if they don't look, it didn't happen. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the police. Fuck the courts. Fuck all of you. You chose to do nothing. It's not that you couldn't do anything, it's that you were too much of a fucking coward to try.